I'm just going to go turn the light on real quick, okay? Because it's kind of gloomy. Whew. Good morning! I know, I can't wait to start either. Actually, I was all ready like 2 minutes before, and then I was like, oh, I just need to wee real quick. Just to make sure. Okay, so today, normally I start with how to separate threads, how to thread your needle, and then a little pep talk. So we're going to spend just like 5-10 minutes doing that. And then today what we're going to do is this mantelpiece here, just this one thing. Okay, so it's not going to be a lot of stitching or anything like that, but it'll give us a nice start so that we can then do the bricks and do the stuff in the background before we start doing the stuff that's in front of the things. Hi, neighbor, in the foreground. So that's kind of where we're at for today. So I'm just going to go ahead and get started. So the first thing is obviously how to separate your threads. I was just trying to pick some colors. I'm thinking maybe this one for my fireplace, and then maybe this one and mix it with another color for my mantle, you know, like maybe like a lighter brown or something, like maybe these two, and do like a couple strands of each. So let's just start with how to separate threads. Normally when you get threads just straight off the skein, like you buy them in the shops, well, normally they look like this, but most of mine look like this. Good morning, George. And so if we find the end, you get 6 strands. I'm back. I know we had a week off, didn't we? So you get all 6 like this, okay? And you can use as many or as little as you want to. So if you want to use all 6 strands, you're going to get a thicker line. You're going to fill in your shape a little bit quicker, but it's also going to look a little bit, I don't want to say chunky, but like rustic maybe is the word. You're going to see all of your stitches. They're not going to blend together like smoothly, okay? So there's places and times that we use all 6 strands, and sometimes we'll use 4 or 3 or 2 or 1. Now, someone asked me the other day, how do you know? How do you know how many strands? Like, is there a rule? And to be fair, I don't think there are any rules for this, personally. You use what you like. Some people use 3 strands all the time, no matter what, and they fill it with 3 strands every single time. Some people will only use 1. It takes forever, but it gives a really nice, smooth, painterly feel. And some people just go balls to the wall, 6 strands, boom, 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 and bang it out, and that's what they like. So it just depends on what you like, really. So I'm going to show you how to separate the strands. There's 2 ways to separate. I'm just going to cut a little piece of that off. So the first way is, say you want 3 strands, okay? So you want 3. The first way is you're going to take all of these strands apart a little bit, and you're going to take 1 strand, just 1, and you're going to hold all the rest of them like this, not tight, and you're just going to pull 1 strand out, okay? And then straighten all the rest, and then you're going to find another strand. You have to do it strand by strand, and you're going to pull that one out, and then you're going to take 1 more strand and pull that one out. Now with these strands, you're going to put them all together and make 3 strands. That's the first way. Okay, I like to go over this because I know a lot of people, they've never done it before, and that's totally fine. Like, so just kind of bear with me if you're like, I already know. So then you put them together like this, and then you make your 3 strands. Okay, so the other way is you have your 6 strands already. I call it the Y method. It looks like a Y, not a rude hand gesture there. But it looks like a Y because the way that we separate it makes it look like a Y. And this is where you pull them apart and you take however many strands you want and you kind of separate them. So I've got 3 and 3. Obviously, there's 6 altogether. So there's 3 and 3. And I kind of hold them like this to make your Y. With this hand, I'm unwrapping just a little bit as I go. And then I'm putting my finger through like that. See how it makes a little Y? Or like a tuning fork or something. Okay, you can use either way. It does not matter, whichever way you like the best. Okay, obviously, if you wanted 3 strands and you wanted to mix 2 colors, you could do 2 strands of one and one in another and put them together, and that would make 3. And that's what we're gonna do for the mantle here. Is we're actually going to take a couple strands of each and mix them together and make it look like a wood grain kind of. Now I always say this. If that's not your vibe, then don't do it, okay? I'm kind of going to get the pep talk little by little this time. But it's one of those things where if you don't like it, then don't do it that way, okay? This is not like you have to do it my way. You have to do it the way that I do it. You try different things and you find what works the best for you. So I think I'm going to go with these 2 colors. It looks like we've got a DMC brand number 8. This is a special one that comes in a tin. And surprise, not surprise, this has no number. So I never put numbers in on my pegs. I really should, but I always forget, you know? These are quite old threads too, so there you go. Now I want this to have kind of like a wood grain. So what you can do is either stitch the whole thing and then go back and add little wood grains, or you can do like me, and that's to put 2 colors together. These might be a little too similar now that I'm looking at them. But put the 2 colors together and we're going to stitch them all at one time. So we're going to use, I think 3 strands of this, 1 strand of this, put them together to make 4 strands, and we're going to use the split stitch. And the split stitch will be really nice because we can go around all of these things and make it so that it still looks nice and straight. So I'm looking for a wood effect, in effect. I kind of wanted this one as the fireplace, but we'll see. You could use lots of other colors for this if you wanted to do a gray fireplace or a brown fireplace, or make it like a real dark, deep wood. You can do that. Like, there's all kinds of things. Actually, I could go even darker instead of lighter. You know what I mean? Like a darker and a light like that. That might look quite nice. Let's try that. Okay, so I'm going to try 3 strands of this and 1 strand of that, because I want it to just have like a variation. I'm not 100% on this, by the way. Now, the other thing that people ask a lot is, how long do you make your thread? I cannot speak Arabia. I'm very sorry. I'm talented, but I'm not that talented, babe. Can't do that. Okay, so I've got my 3 strands there. Now, a lot of people ask, Jessie's up sleeping. She does not like this weather. She says, no way, man. I don't like the rain. I don't like the cold. I'm going back to bed. So she's sleeping. So a lot of people say, how long do I need to make this? I'm just going to zoom all the way out for a minute. So mine is like ridiculously long. And I always make it too long. But a lot of people say if you go to the tips of your fingers all the way down like that, that should be your workable thread. Okay, so not including your tail. So that means that your tail can be about that big. This is where your needle would go. Okay, so maybe about that long. Now that to me is too short. I can't deal with that. With cutting more thread and cutting more thread. That's just it's too short for me. So I end up making mine a lot longer. Now I will have more knots that way, but is that gonna look good? I hope so. But for me it's worth it. So start a little bit shorter, and if you find that actually you're doing quite well, then try some more after. You know, there's no harm in and changing things up. So, and that's the same as if I teach you something and you're like, actually, I like the way I do it better, then do it the way you do it. No one's telling you you can't. It's okay. So I'm just going to put the 1 strand and the 3 strands together. And I'll show you 2 different ways to make knots because, well, I have 4 strands and I want 4 strands, so I can't show you the 3rd way. So what we're going to do is first we're going to thread our needle. What I like to do is go like this and use this kind of method. Okay, so you're pushing it through, like literally pushing it through. And you're going to put the eye of your needle over where you know your threads are. And then push it through. Okay? Yes? Now the other way is to use a needle threader. And I actually have some of these. And what you do with these is you hold your needle. I like these kind. I don't like the ones with the loops. And you put it through like this. It's hard to do if you haven't got 3 hands. Or if you're trying to show it on a video, okay? Like that. All right. And then you put your thread through like this. All of the threads, obviously. Okay. And then you pull this here through. And that threads your needle for you. So these little guys are going to be in the shop. They're going to be in the toolkit, the supplies toolkit. So hopefully those can get up today. We'll see. We'll see what happens. And then hi Jamie T. There's a couple ways that you can make knots at the end too. So the first way is to make a loop. So I make a loop like that. Okay. Make a loop, Tori, and then put the tail inside the loop like this. And then you can direct how far down you want your knot. Like that. So if you've got just a couple strands, like 1 or 2, you might have to do 2 or 3 knots on top of each other because it might pop through the fabric otherwise. But the other way is the quilter's knot. Lots of people like to use this knot. And I feel like more people in the embroidery community have found it and have made little videos. So that's quite nice. And you put it over top like this. Yeah, put it over top. But I put my thumb here. And you wrap it. However many times you wrap it is how many times you're going to have a knot. So I like to do just like 2. Okay. And then hold the knot and the wrap with your fingers like this. And you're going to pull your needle all the way through. So you obviously cannot tie your wraps so tight because you have to put your needle through your wraps. Well, don't poke yourself. And then you get a little knot like that. Okay. So I'm just going to show it again because a lot of people are like, what? Yeah, so you hold it like this. Put your thumb on top. Do your wraps. Okay. Hold the wraps. And you just pull your needle through. All the way through. And then you get a little knot on the back. Do my beauty blogger trick so that it'll actually, okay? And then you're ready to stitch. So obviously there's other ways to start. This is my favorite way, is to have a little tail. Some people like to double their threads, okay? So if you follow, this is a loop. And at the end, you have both the tails. So the ends, and you would knot it here. So the only thing with this, because that's completely enclosed, your needle can't get out. So the only thing with this one is that you need to use half the threads if you want 4. So I've got 4 strands here. So when I double it up, it makes 8. All right. I don't want 8 strands. I want 4. So I would have to do 2 strands and fold it in half to make 4. Does that make sense? So it just depends on how you like it and what you like to do. Some people they don't like it with the tail because they pull the needle off a lot. But I quite like the tail, you know? All right, here we go. Let's start stitching. I've been talking for too long. All right, so like I said, we're gonna do this a mantelpiece here. So we're gonna go around some of these things and we're gonna stitch over some of these things. So these here, we're gonna stitch over because we know they just overlap a wee bit there. So it's not a big deal to just stitch on top of that. We're gonna go around these things here like this, but you can totally just stitch over these. Okay, you don't have to go around those because it's quite difficult. The other thing I like to do is, because we're going to do the split stitch, is you can either work this in a straight line all the way down and all the way back, meaning you're just going to a straight line, okay? Or you can work it kind of vertically like this, but all the shape at the same time will be filled. Does that make sense? So if you do it like a straight line, you're going to do a straight line here and then come all the way back down, and then all the way back down, and then all the way back down until you filled it from top to bottom or bottom to top. It doesn't matter. Okay, if you do it the other way, you'll do it this whole shape. You'll work in kind of like rows, and you'll fill the whole shape over at one time. So I'll show you how to do both, because some people like one more than the other. One is the long and short split stitch, and the other one is just a split stitch. So let's do the one in a line first, okay? And we'll do it just to here, and then I'll show you how to fill it in here and move over. So let's take a breath. All the stuff on the first day, I feel like I have to like blitz through it, you know? But I don't want to go too fast because I want you guys to understand what I'm talking about. Okay. Here we go. So I've got my 4 strands, 3 strands of one color, 1 strand of another color, put them together to make 4 strands. We're going to do the split stitch. So the split stitch is we're going to come up from the back like this, and we're going to make a stitch. Okay, now you can either come a little bit forward, like on the line though, Tori, come on, and go into this stitch. So it doesn't matter where you go in, just go in. You're going to split these threads. So you're looking at something like that. So you're not going next to it, above or below. You're going in through the strands. And you pull it tight like that. Okay, so forward. This always happens when I use dark thread. And split. Okay, now I like to do an extra little split for the very last one, because otherwise you'll end up with some stitches that aren't split. Okay, the other way, again, I'm working these in rows. Okay, so this is the first kind of way you can do it. The other way that people do it is they make their stitch, and instead of coming up in front of it here, they'll come up inside the stitch. So let me just find, because I'm looking at the phone. They'll come up inside the stitch. So this means that they're always coming up inside the stitch and going forward. Inside the stitch and going forward, instead of going forward and going back down into it. Now, both of these will look the same. I find that they're the same. They don't have like a different effect, if you know what I mean. And then again, just one more little guy here at the very end. And then there you go with your split stitch. Now I've got that dark thread. I always forget about that, you know? But don't worry. Here, let's see if we can do this. So it looks like this. All your threads will be mixed together, okay? So if you use one color, it'll just be one color, but they'll be like stitched into each other, so it makes one solid kind of line or shape. And you can continue working these in lines. So if you would like the line way, meaning like this, to do lines on top of each other, what I would do is take your pen, if you're using a pen or a pencil or something, and just put a couple little guidelines in. Because what can happen is you start stitching and all of a sudden you've got some lines that go like this. And then it doesn't look like a straight across piece of wood anymore. It looks like, you know, someone had a little mistake. Got like a drunk woodworker or something. Okay, so if you're gonna do the lines, do straight across like this. So let me quickly show you how to work it up as a whole shape over at one time. I think it looks the same, looks similar. So with this one, you're gonna fill in your shape vertically, not horizontally. Good morning. Ooh, I think I'm a bit close because it's gone dark. Recalibrate. Maybe not. Maybe that's just how it is. And for these, they're going to be long and short. So for this one, we'll make this one a little bit longer. Still working in a line. Meaning they're still parallel to each other. It's very dark. Is your screen dark? Is it just my screen? But the trick with these is to not make any two stitches next to each other the same length. So we're not looking for a pattern here. We're doing some really long, some really short. So some people find this a little bit difficult because they think, well, how long and how short? Like, what's the pattern? What's the trick? How do you know? You don't know. You just make some of them long and some of them short, and they're all random. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how long or how short you make them. Doesn't look bad to me. Okay, that's good. I think sometimes when I do the, you know, when I put the thing on, it makes the exposure of the video, like, plays with that a little bit. It's not even that bad out today. I mean, looks good to me. It's pretty dark, but I can see it. Okay, so we've got our first line. Yeah, when I first started it though, it wasn't this dark. You know what I mean? Come on, guys. Let's get... Do me some light, okay? Okay. So we've got our first little row. So now we're going to work like the second row, and we're going to put all of our next stitches into all of these stitches. So sometimes I find this way works better. Sometimes I like to work it in a nice line. I might just put it on there anyways, and maybe y'all can see it. So the trick with the second row is to not split them all in the same place, okay? Because they're all different. They're all different lengths. So some of them will overlap a lot and split a lot, and others will overlap just a little. So we don't have like the same length of stitches or anything like that. We're just making sure that every stitch is split. Does that make sense? And we're trying to make them all parallel-ish, okay? Obviously, I'm trying to get like a wood effect here. In my mind. In my mind, this is like a wood effect. Like a dark, stained wood. Just gonna add that little third stitch there. Come on. Don't get sassy with me on a Monday. Okay, good morning, Mel. I saw she just joined. That's exciting. Okay, and then for these ones that don't have any more space, and I filled the whole area. I'm just going to do a little half stitch here to split those. And again, this is often where I get a little off track. Do you know what I mean? You want them to be straight. I probably picked too dark of a color, but hey ho, you live, you learn, right? And you're gonna have that song in your head for the rest of the day now, I bet. Looks like I need one more just here, and then we can go to the top. Now, when you work it up and down like this, it's quite nice because if you mess up anywhere, you can always just kind of add another one, and it doesn't look weird. It doesn't look strange, okay? Where sometimes if you work in straight lines, if you add some extra stitches, like in just some areas, sometimes it can look a little bit like, oh, did they forget some? So it just depends. It just depends on what you like. And I'll probably say that 1,000 times in the stitch along, but it's so true because people like different things, you know? And that is why I love these stitch alongs where you get to choose your own colors. I just feel like people choose like so many colors I would never pick myself, and they look so amazing. And then it really makes me feel like, wow, I should pick different colors. Like I should try and use some of these colors, you know, that maybe I wouldn't necessarily always go for. That's always fun. Now the other thing I'll say about these stitch alongs, remember I said we're just going to stitch straight over that. So all it is a little loop. And we'll add that later because you can see on the top where they attach. So it's not a big deal there. If you would like to stitch around them, then you can, but it's, you know. Let's just go ahead and put these next couple lines in, just in case. I always find that when I put the lines in, it helps a lot. Because sometimes I'm just talking and then I don't realize that I've actually gone very much astray. Don't at me. It's 4 strands, Mel. So I did 3 strands of this lighter brown color and 1 strand of this darker brown color. You can't really tell as much as I thought you could, but when I put the thing on, you can actually see it's like blended. But you don't have to do that. You could do all one color and then see how you like it, and then add a 1 strand of just straight stitches if you wanted to. I know we've done that before in a different video. I'm pretty sure we did. In a different stitch along. And we've got the split stitch. I can tell a bit. Oh, that's good. I can't tell a bit. Oh, I can't tell a bit. Well, sorry. Sometimes it doesn't work as well as I think. And sometimes I've just picked 2 colors that are very similar, so maybe not a win from me today, but Oh, wow. Okay, that was very long. And you can make these stitches as long or as short as you want to. So it gives you a little bit of freedom with the split stitch, that if you don't nail it, like you don't feel like you did a really great job, maybe you made them very, very, very small, or you made them very, very, very long, it doesn't really matter that much. Do you know what I mean? Because you'll just get a little bit of a different look, that's all. So there's a lot of room for errors in this. Do you know what I mean? It's really forgiving is what I'm trying to say. So there we go. Okay, what was I saying before this? Basically that, yeah, about colors and what you like is maybe not what I would like, and things like that. So I think that's really fun. I feel like the first video is always like one big TED Talk. One big, like, you can do it. But I feel like we need to start off like that, you know, because sometimes, I think as adults especially, if you can't get it the first time, people are like, it's too hard, I can't do it. I'm never doing this again. And it's like, you might not get it the first time. You might not get it the second time. You might have to try 3 times or 4 times, and that's okay. Like, there's nothing wrong with having to go. And the good thing with embroidery is that's really easy to cut out. So if you don't nail it, or if you don't like it, just snip it out. Just snip it out and start again. Because what's going to happen is you're always going to look at that part of your embroidery, unless you give it away. Okay. Which I've been guilty of doing that too. You know, I don't really like this one. I'll give it to someone. Because if it's hanging in your house, every time you look at this, you're going to go, that part looks like crap and I don't like it. And it's going to really impact how you feel about your work. So if you don't like it, then just tear it out and try again. Just tear it out and try again. It's not that big of a deal. Jamie T, I give up very easily. But you do try though. So I feel like you know, okay? Only you know. And for some people, they might look at your work and go, I don't see a problem. But you look at it and you're like, oh, it's just that piece right there. It looks so bad. It doesn't look so good at all. Like, I feel like I could do better. And if it's you, then just take it out and redo it. Because you're just going to keep looking at it and be like, oh. And sometimes it's not immediately. And what I mean by that is sometimes you stitch it. And you're like, oh, that looks great. I did a good job. And then you put everything together. And the more you're stitching other things, the more you look at that first thing and you go, the color is just not right. Or, oh, I think a different stitch would be way better for this. Or whatever the thing is. So sometimes it's not necessarily immediately. And that's okay too, you know? That you can finish something and then go, I feel like I could do that better. Or, you know, I feel like I just want to change the color or whatever the thing is. All right. So tying knots on the back. We're at 35 minutes. So I'm not going to actually get more. I'm just going to tie this off and be done. But real quick, you don't have to finish this all today either. So if you do 30 minutes today and you don't finish, then just do it a different day, or you can do it at the weekend, or you can do it in December. It doesn't matter, okay? So learn the stitches, have a good time, but if it's starting to stress you out, you need to stop. Don't keep going if you're like, I don't like it, or I have to like do it really quickly because I only have X amount of time. So inspirational, Tori. Oh, stop. I know. Just do what you can. All right. Just do what you can. And then that's it. Just life lessons. Okay, so tying a knot on the back, because lots of people have questions about this too. So what I like to do is there's a couple different ways. I can think of 3 or 4, and I'm going to show you a couple too. So the first way is I like to separate my threads however they separate. You can do 1 and 3, 2 and 2, whatever, because we've got 4 strands, remember, and just tie them like you're about to do a double knot for your shoelaces. Wham, bam, thank you, ma'am. I like to do a couple, like 3. Okay, and then snip the rest of that off. You're done. The other way is to do a loop like this. Okay, so you've got your loop, and put the eye of your needle inside the loop and down by where you want your knot to go. So not over here, you want it to go over here. And then pull. And what that's going to do is make your knot go all the way down to the bottom, really close to the base of the fabric. Okay? Now, the third way is that sometimes people, they don't want to tie a knot. Some people don't like tying knots on the back, and that's perfectly fine too. So if this is you, I would leave a little bit longer tail. Okay, maybe a little bit longer than this. And what you're going to do is slide your needle with the, well, I can't really do it now because oh Lord. So inspirational. I'm going to put that in my bio, Jamie T. An inspiration, an embroidery inspiration. Oh my God, how ridiculous would that be? Okay, so leave a longer tail than this, and you're going to slide your needle underneath a bunch of stitches different ways. Okay, so not through the fabric, just through some stitches, and you're going to do it like many different ways. So like down, up, over, across, maybe like 3 or 4. Obviously I can't do that many because my tail is too short. And then snip off the rest. Okay, so what you'll get is no knots, period. Okay, so whichever way that you choose to do it, that's totally fine. It doesn't matter. So yeah, what else? I feel like I'm forgetting something. Oh, the very last thing, the part of my TED Talk, is try and not to compare your embroidery to someone else's. Try to do your best. So not just like try your best, ha ha ha. Like do your best. So this might be your very first time stitching, and maybe you're like, oh my God, mine does not look like that, or oh my God, mine does not look like hers. But it's like he or she might have been stitching for 10 years. You don't know. So maybe they've done all these stitches before, and they just want to stitch because it makes them happy. Whereas you are just learning right now, like today, and that's fine too. So as long as you feel like you gave it your all and like you really did have a go and you tried, then it doesn't really matter how it looks like. So you don't have to like turn this into a print and sell it in a fair or something for it to be any good and for you to have a good time and for you to learn something. Okay? Like, I mean, you can't do that anyways because it's my design. But you get the point. Yeah? You don't have to make money off of it, or you don't have to, enter into a fair or whatever to get something from making something. So sometimes it's literally just learning new stitches, or sometimes it's just taking a picture, uploading it to Instagram and tagging me and getting some likes or whatever. That's okay too. Okay? Let me grab my iPad real quick, and I'm going to show you about the hashtags that we use, because I know there's a couple new people and they might not know about this. So what we like to do is take a little picture of our progress. It doesn't have to be every day. It could be every couple days, or it could be at the end of every week. And if you put it on the grid, you can use the hashtag the Barmy Fox SAL. So if someone could just type that in the comments while I run and go get my iPad. And that stands for the Barmy Fox Stitchalong. Stitchalong. Okay, so let's see here. If we go to thank you, Hannah. Of course, I have to type it all in. There we go. Tags. 4,000 posts, you guys. Oh my gosh. Okay, so this is what it looks like. So when you put it in onto your, well, here. Let's see here. Let's go to this one, actually. If you go and put it onto your grid post like this is the one from today. And if you go and click the Barmy Fox SAL, this is what it takes you to. And this is all the posts just on the grid. So they won't actually be stories. They used to do a story thing up here, but now they don't do that anymore. So you get your top, your recent, go away, and then reels. So if you make a reel with it, it will go there. Oh, and some people have. So there you go. See? I don't think I have. So the top is just like top comments or top likes. Recent will be all of the people who have tagged recently. So this morning I tagged mine and it's here. Someone tagged theirs 6 hours ago, so it's there. And they'll all be here together. So what will start to happen is that as people add to their grid, so that's this part, when you go to your profile and you upload a picture, that's where that is. Oh gosh, okay. Oh. Tags. Okay, go. Okay. Got it. Recently. Got it. I can do it, guys. Don't worry. So as you'll see, some people have uploaded pictures of their tracing. That's all there. And as people start uploading them, they'll all be here. So if you have a couple minutes, like at the weekend or at night before you go to bed or in the morning when you're having your coffee, have a look through, tap, like, you can comment, and you can see all the other stitch-alongs that we've done. So you can see the one before this was the Happy Harvest stitch-along. Yeah? So this should be just all for stitch-alongs. I've been trying to delete the ones that are not really related because they're meant to just be for you guys, you know? So this is all Happy Harvest. And then the one before that, let me go back, would be the Changing Seasons one. Yeah, do you remember that one? And then before that, so if you go all the way back, because some people do every day and some people do like once a week. Whatever you choose is fine. Then we have the jungle one before that. Okay, so I think you kind of get it, but you get all the stitch-alongs. And if you go all the way back, you'll find all the ones like old ones, real old ones, like real old ones. Let's see the one before that. That was the Plant Sanctuary one. So they're all on here. The other thing I want to say is that if you, the newest video goes onto my grid and it'll be the very first one. So that will be the video today. And then tomorrow it will change to tomorrow's. And then I remove it from the grid so that they're not just all videos. But if you go here to the play button, they've changed IGTV to the play button. And this is where you get all the videos now. Okay? So this is all the videos. So if they're not uploaded on YouTube yet, check here. And you can go to the series, and I'll put them all in a series together. So if you want just the Happy Harvest, well, that's Changing Seasons, but this is all of them. Okay? So this is all of those videos, just those videos, all together. And then if you go down here, this is when we started, when we were allowed to save them onto here. The Foxy Stitch Along, which was the fox. This one is all, oops. This one's all the videos on the fox, starting with the prep all the way to the very, very end. Okay? So I hope that makes sense. The Coffee February one. This one will be all the coffee ones. I don't think we'll do a February Stitch Along this year. We'll see. It'll just be 4 weeks after I have my baby. So, and there was the tea one. This one was the free one from last year. So there's all kinds of them on here. So that's where you'll find them. And that's the play button. Go away. The play button on my profile. So you go down here to click me. Tag products. Yeah, I freaking know. And then go to series, and then they'll all pop up. Or you can just scroll the videos this way. Okay? All right, well, that's it for me, I think. Oh, it was a mouthful today. Sorry, guys. But yeah, if you finish this, then great. And if not, hey ho, you don't. It is what it is, isn't it? So I hope you have a lovely, lovely Monday. I'll speak with you again tomorrow, where we'll start the next bit. And I'm not going to show you any of the other things today, tomorrow, like doing knots or threading the needle or anything like that. So we're just going to jump straight into stitching. Be sure if you tag it in your stories, you can do that by tagging me at the Barmy Fox. You can use the hashtag in the stories as well, although it doesn't come up in the stories like it used to. So I don't really know if it's worth doing that or not. I guess you can try and see. It used to, but I don't think it does anymore. So yeah, that's it. I hope you have a lovely, lovely, lovely Monday, and I'll speak with you tomorrow, 10 a.m. All right? Bye.